On the day of my sister's wedding, I saw my mother for the first time in 13 years. I tugged on the hem of my dress to adjust it as I approached the church. A new medication had made me gain weight, a lot of weight, and my body was thick and heavy under the only dress left in my closet that kind of fit me. I was uncomfortable, and I was nervous. My mother believed she was the best version of herself when she was thin. When I was a child, she would sit at the dining table each morning with a cup of coffee and a cigarette, her first and often only meal of the day. It wasn't a problem to her that the best job she could ever secure was waiting tables or cleaning houses, and that the men in her life were addicts, alcoholics, and abusers of all kinds. As long as she was skinny, there was no other measure of her personal success. As I grew older and my body shaped itself into a woman's, the additional weight I carried was nothing but a disappointment to her and an opportunity for teasing in front of her male friends, causing a sense of shame that rooted itself deeply within me. I pulled open the heavy church doors and stepped inside quietly. While pausing just over the threshold, I saw a thin figure in a periwinkle dress float out of the restroom and down a hallway. After turning her head just enough to see me there, I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but I didn't have the chance to speak. In an instant, she was gone, and I realized with all the thought how I would react to her, I never stopped to think how she might react to me. She didn't speak to me. She didn't even really look at me. Nothing after 13 years. As guests gathered in the small chapel, I sat a few rows back from the altar, catching glimpses of my mother's profile as she turned her head to watch the bride walk down the aisle. My sister transitioned from a Miss to a Mrs. that day, and my family was unrecognizable as a family. 3 years later, it's my nephew's first birthday party, and I'm hanging streamers inside the backyard tent when my mother arrives. I hear her before I see her, and I feel myself tense up and prepare for her to avoid or ignore me again. Instead, she marches up to me and says, "Hi, Melissa," with the kind of cheerful enthusiasm you would feign while talking to a child. Her voice wraps around and digs at the 8-year-old, the 10-year-old, the 15-year-old, and the 19-year-old versions of me that she had abandoned in varying ways throughout my life. I turn and nod. I respond somehow with some greeting that I managed to pull from some unknown place. "Congratulations," she says. "I'm happy for you. I really am." I'm confused for a minute until I sense my fiancé Chris at my elbow, a man who will be my husband in 6 weeks. A wedding she's not invited to, but probably thinks that she should be. She's smiling as she introduces herself to him. She's different now, still skinny, of course, but her face has sunken in and her teeth have darkened and bucked forward in a peculiar way. Her hair is cropped shorter than I've ever seen her wear it, and she has on glasses, which I don't ever remember her wearing either. The most distinctive difference, though, is her voice. It's heavy and scratchy from age and smoking, and she doesn't sound the way I remember her sounding. It's hard to look at her, and it's hard to be there. The memories of my mother washing dishes while chewing gum to keep the hunger at bay, or the ones of her hitting me until I fell into the pantry door, or the ones where she kept us waiting on the living room couch for hours with our duffel bags packed, but never showed because she had taken up with a new man, those memories are lost on her. She's nice to me that day, as best she can be at least, but unlike my sister, I don't hug her goodbye when she leaves. Our brief exchange of pleasantries doesn't undo a lifetime of letdowns and rejections from the one person who should have loved me relentlessly and without falter. She may have been my mother, but she was not at all my mom, not anymore. And maybe I'm okay with that. My eyes settle on my strong-willed niece and my always happy nephew, two children who fill my world with light. My love for them has far surpassed my anger toward her, a love that has made me a better person in spite of her. I didn't need her to teach me how to love. I had learned that all on my own.